today we're going to be doing a good old-fashioned tier list. I did a video, so I'm rendering a video right now, but I decided I'm going to start doing shorter videos, so like 10 to 12 minutes, instead of doing these super long videos. Obviously in some videos like these, they might take a little bit longer than usual, but I'm going to try to basically cut it down, less talking, so you guys can basically get all the information what you're here for. So let's get on with the video. By the way, if you're interested in gold carries or coaching, hit me up in my personal Discord below, Xvic, and let's go on with the video. Now, this is not factual, just as personal. These are updated, so some things might be worse than others, some things might be better than others, but let's get on with the video. So, we're not doing tanks other than Prop Paladin, because Prop Paladin is the only tank you can really play. So, let's get these out of the way. Actually, we'll do tanks. We'll do the tanks that I think are viable, I'll do. And that's just for like blitz and stuff, by the way. Keep in mind. Alright, so here we go. First one is going to be, let's go with Warlock. So Warlock right now is doing really good. It's easily going to be S tier. All you're doing is spam bleeding, doing unhealable damage, especially if you're at low rated like 1800 to 2100, and they're just spamming dispels. And a lot of people will dispel. Even it's good to dispel versus affliction warlocks, depending on how many like whether it's havoc or whatever their one ability is. But yeah, it's definitely a good class. One of the better specs of casters, but that's pretty much it. Next one's going to be Destro, which is going to be A tier. It did get a buff, and its Chaos Bolts are hitting around, I think it's 2.5 to 3 mil, which is really insane. So if you're looking to play Destro Warlock, it is coming up, and it is about to be insane. I think it might already be insane. It could be low S. And then we have Doom Warlock, which is right behind or in front of Destro. Now I'm going to put it in front of Destro only because it's control. It's basically a sub rogue with damage. Obviously, it's not insane damage, but they're doing a really good amount of damage. And that's the only reason I'm putting Destro Warlock behind it, because obviously Destro Warlock has control with fears and coils, but otherwise it's kind of just meh. It doesn't really have a stun other than that pink one that does like 3 seconds. It's really not a stun, not really. Well, it is a stun, but you know what I'm saying. Next one is going to be DK. Unholy DK is easily, now they did change it, so now it's going to be, DK is not a super burst reliant spec, especially on Unholy DK. So it's going to be easily right behind, actually I think it's in front of Destro behind well, let's just put it here for now. I think honestly, Unholy DK is pretty insane. It is a ton of damage. Now it is a bleed spec, so for right now I think this is right, but that's how I feel about that one. What I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna put the melees on the right and then casters on the left. So I'm kind of comparing them versus melees. So these are the casters and these are melees. I'm not saying Destro is better than Unholy, blah blah blah. Next one is going to be Frost DK. It's gonna be low A. Um, Still viable in the sense of it has really good setups, but otherwise it's not that good. It has good bursts and everything, but all of its CDs, a spec that only relies off bursts is usually not going to be the best. It's not really a burst season, it's more of a dampener PvE season where you're just playing the best PvE spec possible. Next spec that we're going to be going over is going to be Blood DK, which it's pretty much one of your C tier. It does damage, it does a lot of healing, self-healing, and you know, if you're trying to run a flag, it's not going to be the best, but it's better than nothing. So not very good. I'm just going to put this here. Next spec that we're going to be going is going to be Windwalker. Windwalker is easily ahead of Frost DK, and I'd honestly say it's above Unholy DK. Maybe they're kind of like equaled out. So if I had to say right now, I'd say Windwalker is probably a little bit better than DK, just because of the fact that its burst damage is really consistent and it lasts for a while. That's pretty much that. Mistweaver is going to be our first healer on the list here. It's gonna be A tier. It does healing. The problem is they should have done the orb that doesn't get affected by dampening. Like H-Val's Lay on Hands no longer gets affected by dampening like it used to. So like if you're at 60% dampening and you get Lay on Hands, it only heals for like 10%. Now it does the full duration. They should do that for the orb, where it doesn't dampening doesn't affect the orb. But overall, it's still good, still viable. It's not really the best in arena or solo shuffle, but in blitz and RPGs, it does very well. Next one is going to be Restadruid. Restadruid is going to be one of the worst healers. I'd say it's probably a little bit better than Mistweaver, only in the fact of arena and maybe solo shuffle. And it's also only because it can spam CC. It's really the only good thing about Restadruid right now, because all your hots get purged, you die in 3 seconds, and that's pretty much it. Restadruid's still viable, but it's not the best. I'd say it's right around what Mistweaver is. They're probably you rarely ever see them, and that's pretty much that. Next pick is going to be Evoker. So Dev Evoker, I think it's still really good. If I had to put it somewhere, I would probably put it a little bit behind Demolock. Um, Maybe it could be a front just for the damage, but I think Demolock just it's not really so much that it's a damage spec, it's mainly because of its control. Its amount of control that it has is insane. So, for right now, we'll put Dev Evoker there. I still think Dev Evoker is really good. It does good burst and everything, but like Demolock just has so much control. It's you basically want Demolock and Solo Shovel and all that good stuff because they're just doing so much CC and you don't have to do anything but PvE. Next pick that we're going to be going over is going to be DH. DH is coming up. I honestly believe that DH could be above Windwalker and DK. It's doing a lot of burst right now. It's doing a lot of AoE damage. Now, is it S tier? No. But it does do very well. It's going to be coming up in the ladder here. You might be seeing a few more of these guys. And they're definitely doing damage. I don't know if their burst is crazy. I know I've seen some do a lot of damage. But overall, I think they're good. And they're definitely coming up. Next pick that we're going to be going over, ladies and gentlemen. And again, this could be flopped around. These three are kind of just weird to vote because these are just better in some situations. Like Windwalker isn't better in Blitz, blah blah blah, whatever. You guys can let me know what you guys think. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Disc Brace, which is going to be S tier, our third healer that we're going to put at down here. So Disc, the only thing I don't like about Disc is its healing sucks. Like it has defensives, its shields is great, but like their atonement healing just sucks. You do so much damage in the atonement. Once anybody has dampening or anything, your healing just does nothing. Like if you face an assassination rogue, it feels like you don't heal. If you face a warrior or anything with any MS, it just doesn't feel like you heal. It just feels like you're sitting there just spamming shields, trying to like just ignore the pain. So that's kind of weird. I don't really like Disc Priest in the sense of when I play a healer, I'm trying to heal, not just to sit there and do no healing and do damage. By the way, I'm sick, so if my voice sounds raspy, that's probably why. Holy Priest is going to be B tier. Obviously, it has no defensive cooldowns. Any healer spec that doesn't have a big defensive cooldown is gonna die. For example, priests have what is it called? PS. Rusted has Ironbark. Mistweaver has Orb. Like they all have something for their teammates. Mistweaver has Guardian that really doesn't do anything. So, if you're not, I would not play Holy Priest. It's one of the it is the worst healer in the game right now by far. So that's pretty much that. Next spec we're going to be going over is going to be Shadow Priest, which honestly, personally, I believe it's S tier. Now, it's not going to be above Affliction Warlock or Ellie and stuff, but it is going to be up there. It does a lot of damage, a lot of control, and it has a lot of benefits for your team. I think it's one of the best casters in general. Maybe not in 2v2 Arena, but in everything else, it flourishes pretty much. That's a big word for me. So that's pretty much that. Next spec that we're going to be going over is going to be Rogue, the one that you all been waiting for. So Sub Rogue right now, I'd say currently it's above Frost DK, maybe above Unholy DK. I'd probably put it right here. Sub Rogue. So there was a bug with the talents. Blizzard apparently fixed them Friday, but then Sub Rogue just got worse than when it got reworked. I don't know what's happening with it, but it went from hitting like 4 million eviscerates on target dummies. Now like people are barely hitting 2 mils, and that's a target dummy. Like the highest I've seen somebody hit, Naj hit specifically with best in slot gear, it's about 2.2 and it's on like a clothy. And that's like the one-time thing. That's not good. Especially when it's every CD, everything all together. But that's pretty much that. Next spec we're going to be going over is going to be Assassination, which is actually going to be one of your better specs. If I had to put it somewhere, I would probably put it above DH. So right now it's going to be the best A tier melee. Just because it's obviously you're shivving everybody, you're running around, you're always doing something, and it's great. The only thing I don't like about Assassination Rogue is you don't have really a finisher. Now you do have a thing that can finish, but like an actual finisher to where it feels like you can consistently do it without having to worry. Like I get him 20% and he's dead. Like I don't have to worry about well he sits at 20% and I can't kill him. I know there's like an execute button for it, but that's pretty much that. Outlaw Rogue's gonna be okay as well. If I had to put Outlaw Rogue somewhere, I'd probably put it above Sub Rogue, just because Outlaw does consistent damage. It has CC, has everything you would want. Now it's it doesn't really have burst. It doesn't really do insane damage or nothing, but it's definitely overall better than Sub because it's not a burst reliant spec. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Feral Druid is going to be easily the best melee in the game. And if I had to put it somewhere versus the casters, I would put it probably right here. Just because Feral Druid, personally, now it's not really hard. You can, there's not really much outplay, but like, if you get caught out of form, or you skim bad, or you got to do it. You still have to do stuff. You still have to cyclone people. You still have to come out of form. You got to pre-bear stuff. Like, it's not. Everyone acts like it's just a W spec, which it is. But at the same time, at high rated, you do that, and you're just gonna die, and it's done every time. But Feral Druid is definitely one of your better melees, if not the best melee by far. And that's pretty much it. Boomy. It did get a buff, so you should be seeing a lot more Boomies. If I had to put Boomy somewhere, I would probably put it a little bit above Windwalker, maybe DH. So I put it above Windwalker. The only reason I'm not putting it above DH is mainly because it's not that good. Like, sure, its burst is great, but the thing is, when you put a spec like this as a burst-reliant spec, it's not going to do that good. Because guess what? This guy's going to come out of bear form, get absolutely stunned, and then he's barely going to get to play the game. They need to, like, do something to where these guys can, like, they're able to come out. They need, like, a defensive cooldown other than skin. They don't have a defensive cooldown. Like, they don't have anything to be like, oh, I can set up form and do my burst rotation without dying while I'm doing my burst. But I think overall, it's CC and everything, great. Next fight that we're going to be going over is going to be Warrior. So Warrior got a big buff. Me, personally, I would probably put Arms Warrior. If I had to put it somewhere, I would put it behind Assassination Rogue. Again, Stats is doing actually pretty well. I just don't like the playstyle of it, and it's kind of like a threes in a solo shelf build, and maybe like a blitz build. 2v2, it just doesn't feel like you have the damage to finish. But in everything else, when you play like an Affliction Warlock, SP, or something else, it just feels like everyone's dead. You're having fun. But that's pretty much that. Same thing with Warrior. You're playing with another spec. It's going to be good in twos as well because it's a dampener. But that's pretty much that. It's kind of like a burst reliant spec. It's kind of like sub rogue without the CC other than like Fear and Stone, obviously. Next spec we're going to be going over is going to be Fury Warrior, which is going to be, if I had to put it somewhere, it would be probably above Outlaw Rogue, but behind Windwalker. So it's still viable, still playable, but its burst is kind of like Sub Rogue. Again, these classes that are based on like burst are not doing that good. You need to be a full-out PvEer. You just need a PvE, be able to hit everything, and Fury Warrior is kind of a single target, but it can work out. Next spec that we're going to be going over is going to be MM Hunter. Me personally, if I had to put this somewhere, I would put it above Warrior, so above Fury Warrior, but behind Windwalker. I think Windwalker is just better. I think all these other ones are just better. Like Boomy, you're getting unlimited CC. Obviously, you're taking a lot of damage, but you're getting a lot of burst, a lot of CC, and everything. So I think that's kind of correct. We'll see though. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be BM, which is going to be your #1 spec. Even after the nerfs, I still think it's absolutely butchering people. It's doing unhealable damage. They did get nerfed, but I still think they're doing insanely well. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I haven't really seen enough of them. Maybe they actually did get butchered. You guys want to let me know in the comments if they actually fixed it or not. But I've faced a few of them. They do pump. They do a lot of damage. So we'll see what you guys think about that. This could be A tier as well, but I'm pretty sure it's still easily S tier. But that's pretty much that. Next fight that we're going to be going over is going to be Survival Hunter, which is probably going to be above Frost DK, but behind Sub Rogue by far. And honestly, Fury Warrior, if I had to put this somewhere, honestly, I think this looks better. Yeah, this looks way better, I think, right? Yeah, okay. Next fight that we're going to be going over, and that's why you guys don't want to skip the video, because sometimes I do stuff, and some people will comment before they finish the video. Listen, finish the video, because sometimes I swap stuff around, just like this. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Enhancement Shaman, which is going to be probably, honestly, above Fury Warrior, but behind Sub Rogue and Outlaw Rogue. It does burst damage, it's great and all, but is its burst really that insane? I think their burst is really good, and it's great, but I just think it's viable, that's pretty much it. Next fight that we're going to be going over is going to be Wrestle Shaman. Wrestle Shaman, I'd say personally, again, I'm saying personally because this is my personal opinion, I'd say it's... I don't know where I want to put this. I feel like healing-wise, Shaman's overall better, but in certain situations, Wrestler can be good, like in 2v2 arena and threes, you can make it work, So I'll keep it there for now. You guys can let me know what you guys think about that. And now for the Rep Paladin. Rep Paladin, I think it's actually pretty good. If you have full gearing stuff, you can do some big damn. I played with a few Rets that we went like 16-3 with like, and he was like 1400 Ret, and he just did unhealable damage, and we got up to like 2100 MR. That's when we faced Mez. So I'd say Rep Paladin right now, I'd say it's in a good spot. I'd say it's right behind Arms Warrior now. It does just a ton of burst damage. So, and you basically have everything you would want. So I don't really hear any Rets complaining. And honestly, you don't even see that many Rets because everyone's just re-rolling to the S tier specs. It's kind of annoying, but that's how it is. So these specs aren't bad. They're really good actually. It's just the S tier are just so much better. My bad for that noise. This is my video being done. Next one that we're going to be going over is going to be Augvoker. This is kind of obvious. It doesn't support class, does great, but blah. We don't really care about Augvoker much. And then we got Prop Paladin is basically a healer slash damage. They do a ton of healing. They do more healing than any healer I've seen. They do like so much healing. They're hitting like 3 million wogs back to back to back with Angels, with Bubble, with Bob, with Sack, with Land Hands. They're just so good right now. I'd honestly put the one tank. I'd say the tank is honestly better than half these specs here. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'd say it's literally right here. With its healing right now, I'd say it's actually viable. It's kind of like when BFA, when Prop Paladins were playing, this Prop Paladin is the only good tank that I've seen that I've literally been not been able to kill. I'll be like, bro, what is going on? He's just topping. It's like Red Paladin and Kata, where they just top themselves with one heal. That's what these guys do. And I don't know if they nerfed it, but as far as I know, they didn't. But when you see a Prop Paladin, you should be scared because they don't die. They're just immortal. They just keep land handsing themselves. But our next spec we're going to be going with is going to be H-Pow, which is going to be your best healer. And not enough cloud space like huge. Whatevs. So pretty much, H-Pow is going to be your best option right now. And mainly it's because, it's kind of an obvious thing. You just have so many cooldowns. They buffed H-Pow by, they did nerf it a little bit, I'm pretty sure. But they did, no, I think they buffed it. So they buffed it. Now Forbearance is short. It's a shorter cooldown, so you don't have to wait the debuff as long as you used to. Land Hands doesn't get affected by damaging, which is insane. And they should have buffed the healing and gave them nothing else. That's all they needed. They didn't need all these extra works, because what Blizzard likes to do is they buff stuff, they make it broken, and then they butcher it as an excuse, so people just stop playing it. Like, I guarantee, if you're watching this in a week or two later, H-Pow is going to be trash. Everything that's S tier could change, but I guarantee H-Power rogues always get trashed on every season. But that's pretty much that. Next one that we're going to be going on with is going to be Arcane Mage. I'd say Arcane, right now, is right here. I think Arcane's trash. I don't even think it's viable at all. Maybe in Blitz, sure, but in overall, no. Ellie is going to be one of your best casters. Again, I'd say it's probably better than SP just because of its burst damage and its consistency, and that's pretty much that. And if I had to put Feral somewhere, I'd put it right here. I think, right here. I think Affy and BM are way too OP. They're just an AoE freak. But that's pretty much that. Frost Mage, if I had to put Frost Mage somewhere, I would probably put it at A tier. It did get some nerfs a while back, and I don't think they're as good as they are. Compared to the SS tier, nah, I think they're balanced. I think Frost Mage is in a good spot right now. It's not like absolutely one-shotting, and it actually, like, you have to do a setup with your burst. You know, sheep the healer, use your stun, blah, blah, blah. I think Frost Mage is definitely the best caster in A tier, but I just don't think it's competing with these other specs. They just do too much consistency versus Frost Mage, which is like a burst spec. Provoker is going to be your second best healer. Overall, you have damage. You have pretty much hover the entire game. You have communion. You just have so much stuff to help your team, and it's really good. And then we have Fire Mage, which is unfortunately terrible as well. I'd say it's probably worse than Frost DK. Any spec that has a burst that can't kill somebody in a stun in 4 seconds with all their cooldowns, that's just not, it's not right. But that's pretty much my tier list, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to make it shorter. I literally recorded this whole video again. So, you know, shout out to you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like the video and comment, because obviously commenting always helps the video, because it puts it on the algorithm. So go ahead and go to the comments right now. Comment what you think. Comment whatever you want, honestly. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, peace.